I've had a few people recently ask the same question. Now, for many, this will seem really basic, but clearly there is a need for a simple, straightforward answer to this question. How do I set up a pension? The folks who have asked this recently have been self-employed, and that makes sense because if you're an employee, it's now the law for your employer to offer a pension plan, so all the hard work is done for you. But if it's just you versus the world, then here's what you need to know. So let's put 5 minutes on the clock here, say a quick thank you to my friends at 7 Investment Management for continuing to sponsor the show, and let's crack on. So the first thing you need to know is that a pension is simply a different kind of savings account, right? The whole idea of pensions has been overcomplicated by the financial services industry and by history. But if you're this side of retirement, that is not retired yet, I'm not retired yet, so that's this side, make sense? If you're this side of retirement, and all you want to do is to save in a tax-efficient way, just think of a pension as a simple savings pot. But actually it's better than that, because in this savings pot, the good people at HMRC will give you money to incentivize you to save. I'll explain more about that in a minute, but we're going to take this step by step. So first, let's choose a pension. Assuming that you have decided that a pension is a good idea, top tip, it always is, then you're going to need to choose which one you're going to save into. And the good news is that when you're getting started, it actually doesn't matter that much. Obviously, there are a few different versions available. Nothing's as simple as we would like it to be. The 3 main types of pensions, though, are firstly insured pensions. These are set up by insurance companies, and you'll have heard of most of these: Legal & General, Aviva, Scottish Widows, Royal London. Insured pensions are usually fairly cheap, but they have somewhat limited investment options. More on what an investment option means in a minute. Secondly, we've got done-for-you pensions. These are plans where you really don't get involved with the underlying investment at all. It's all done for you. You might have to choose a risk level you're prepared to take or whatever, or maybe whether you want your money invested ethically or not. But after that, your only job is to pay into the thing, right? Some good examples of these are Pension Bee and Nutmeg, among others. And then finally, you've got online SIPs. Now, SIP, S-I-P-P, stands for Self-Invested Personal Pension. And as the name suggests, with these plans, you get to choose your investment approach. And there's loads of these available, major providers being Hargreaves Lansdown, Interactive Investor, and brand new entrant into the space, Vanguard. So those are the different kinds of pensions available. So now you need to choose your Now we need to choose our underlying investment, and depending on which of those pension plans we've chosen, you may or may not want to get involved with deciding which funds you invest in within your pension. If you just think of a pension as a box and your job is to add money into that box over time, what will really make the difference though to how that money grows is what is inside that box. That is how you choose to invest your money. Now, investing can seem really daunting, but it needn't be. With a bit of time taken to learn the basics, you can get started really quickly. Now, you are going to need to be prepared to take some risk. That's a horrible word. None of us like to think about risk. But we're not talking here about the kind of risk where you could lose everything. By spreading your money around, you massively reduce the risk that you're taking. And my advice for folks starting out is always to spread that money around using something called a multi-asset fund. That's a kind of off-the-shelf way of investing in all kinds of different things all across the world. Now, there isn't time in this 5-minute Friday to go into specifics about which investments to choose, but I have videos to help you with that, and they're linked below. So, once we've decided on the pension and how we're going to invest, we need to decide how much to pay in. Now, if you're self-employed, then it's going to be you putting the money in. If you work through a limited company, though, then it makes sense for the company to pay in for you. So I suggest that you come up with a regular figure that you're going to pay into your pension each month. It can be really tempting to say, you know, I'll just wait to the end of my business year and I'll see how we've done and then I'll decide how much to put in. And you definitely should do that. But if that's all you do, it can be all too easy to divert that money elsewhere, right, when the time comes. Paying in regularly is good discipline, and you'll soon get used to the money going out each month. If you really want to win with pensions, or any long-term savings plan for that matter, commit to increasing the amount you pay in every 3 to 6 months. So if you start at £100 a month, try to increase it to £110 or £125 a month in 6 months' time. Keep doing that until it hurts, right? Your future self will thank you. By the way, the most you can put into a pension each tax year is 100% of your personal earnings, or £40,000, whichever is lower. So if you're earning 25 grand, then that is the maximum you can put in. If you're earning £60,000, then the maximum you can put in is 40 grand. But If you have a company, a limited company, which is paying into the pension for you, then the company can pay up to the £40,000, irrespective of what your personal earnings are. It may or may not be useful to know that actually you can also carry forward unused allowance from the 3 previous years, but there's some rules attached around that, so don't worry about that when you're just getting started. Now let's talk about tax relief. I said earlier that HMRC will give you money to incentivize paying into a pension, and that is done in the form of something called tax relief. Now, if you're self-employed, HMRC will literally add money to your pension. So if you pay in £100, they will add £25 into the pot for you within a few weeks of you putting your bit in. It is really as simple as that. When you do your tax return, you will need to put down how much you've paid into your pension, and if you are a higher rate taxpayer, you'll get another 25 quid off your tax bill for every £100 you put into your pension. Not too shabby, right? If you work through a limited company, then the company will pay in for you. That is an allowable expense, which reduces the company's profit, which will reduce your corporation tax bill. So that's a little bit more indirect. But still, rather than paying tax, you're getting the tax paid into your pension for you, essentially. Okay, that is the raw basics of how to set up a pension, the things you need to think about. Don't let inertia and overthinking stop you from getting started. These days, pensions are pretty flexible, so if you start one up and then down the line you want to move it from one provider to another, you can usually do that pretty easily. Remember, with pensions, you can't access any money that you've put in until you're age 55, or from 2028, it's going to be until age 57 at the earliest. But that's kind of the point, right? This is money saved for your future. The key is to get started. So what are you waiting for? Hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in next week's 5 Minute Friday. Have a good weekend.